Did y'all see the new Zeo 6? That thing looks so freaking good. Well, even more than just the looks. I mean, that thing sounds incredible. There's been a couple sound clips popping up lately. And, oh man. I'm so glad that companies are figuring out that high revving motors sound freaking great. Because there's not a lot of those left. Most modern cars rarely even make it to the 6K mark anymore. Hope y'all are doing all right today. A bit of a rainy Tuesday here. And off and on, just raining a little bit. Nothing too bad. We're going to be taking a break from the Silverado to work on, I'm hoping the blueprint's good, one of the Mitsubishi Evo 9s. There isn't a lot of early 2000s, or, well, I guess that would have been the late 2000s. Just like 2000s in general. There's not a lot of 2000s, sports cars. I think I like to start to fill that void. I was thinking, you know, the Evo 9, Hawkeye WRX, the Mazda RX-8, things like that. Black box EA games, but those definitely came to my mind. Put on the good old Grand Theft Auto score, since we had the Hey Perico nice music leading us in. Blender, there we go. Oops. There we go. I got a blueprint set up and everything. So hopefully, oops, I need to turn that stereo. I don't know how promising this blueprint's gonna be, but I think we can work with it. BMW E30, yes, that's on the list. Those things are pretty cool. E46, I think we have the Alpina one. M3 GTR and just a regular M3. Awesome. Evo 9 is definitely my favorite gen of the Lancer. Looks so good. Especially in that gray color that they offered. We already have an inaccuracy. You're kidding me. Really? Oh, that is terrible. Oh my god. Okay then. Wow, that is horrible. Holy moly. Well, let's try one of the other ones. Oh, this one looks miles better. Okay, then. There we go. Oh, yeah, that looks way better. Pretty cool to get more JDM cards. Yeah, I totally agree. Just sports cards in general from this era or whatnot. There's just so many good ones that go unnoticed. You doing step, bro? Yeah, I'd still love to get my hands on Hawkeye WRX someday, or well, WRX STI, but it's becoming progressively, not even progressively, it's become insanely difficult to find a good condition WRX for not exorbitant amounts of money. Because if I gotta pay like 50, 60 grand for a good condition like 2006 WRX STI, man, I would just get like a friggin' RS3 or something at that point. If you did see my Twitter, I'm actually pretty much set on picking up a new car soon. With how my Jetta's been acting up, and now that it's becoming winter time, I just want to put it kind of back on the back burner for a while. But I think I pretty much settled on one of the new Honda Civics, because I mean, they're not anything special by any means, but they're pretty decent for, I think it's about $296 a month is what I'd be paying. Plus, I could always upgrade to the Civic Si once it comes out. EK9. Ooh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Oh, that is not a, or that's not a bad idea at all. Oops. Yes, this will be for UD. Well, that's some street racing vibes. Yeah, I agree with that, because, I mean, honestly, my... I've been playing a lot of older, Black Box Need for Speed games, like Most Wanted, Carbon, a little bit of Pro Street. And, I've definitely been on that, like, early 2000s, street racing binge, so that's definitely been a huge inspiration for a lot of the cars that I've had recently. Like the CLK, that was quite literally just like, I remember seeing it in Carbon, I was like, this thing's pretty freaking sweet. We need this in game. You're a gem, a real MVP. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I love being able to help out with the whole just car development in general. Even if I don't dictate what gets added and what doesn't, I I mean, at least I have a little bit of say in what we do and what we don't do. Plus, I can always just surprise Alex with cars that he probably would not want to add, like a Mitsubishi Mirage. Yeah, he probably hates me for having to add that. Your Nissan GTR 50 will be added. Yes, it will. I enjoyed making that model so much. That's like hands down one of my favorite cars ever made. Is the GTR 50. It's just such a pretty looking car, and the styling, like the styling is so over the top, but like it's so incredible looking. Polaris Slingshot, yes, that'd be amazing. Old school Need for Speed is the way to go. Street racing is nostalgia. It is. Carbon. I've never played Most Wanted until when I picked it up a couple months ago, or a couple weeks ago actually. Those are games that like I can to this day still just play and enjoy. Like I've played through Carbon maybe over 10 times at this point. It's like every time I play, it's just a new experience, and it's just so enjoyable. Especially with, I just downloaded the other the last time I played it, a mod which adds like a bunch of cars from Most Wanted as well as Pro Street, and it also like rebalances a lot of the game, making it a little more difficult, but also really rebalances the economy with the races and stuff. Like it makes, like for example like territory races where people try to claim your territory, it makes those races so much. What's a good? Oh, okay. So a good way of putting it is it actually gives an incentive instead of just like, because I think it boosts it from about 5,000, or it boosts it to a $5,000 reward compared to the 500 in the base game. But also just, it makes the AI a lot better. It makes it so much more difficult. There were times where like I was like genuinely getting kind of frustrated because I was like, I kept losing. I was like, ah, but like it was so rewarding once you finally won, because like you left the race, you went, you did some other stuff, you upgraded your car, you retuned it. Yeah, it's. I'm actually, if I can get it working, because for some reason it stopped working on me. If I can get it working tomorrow, I'm actually going to be streaming that, because I've been wanting to play Carbon on the channel for a long time. So I figured why not just live stream it. Nissan Cube. Honestly though, see, we've been with how the Hot Rod bundle, I talked about this in the other stream, with how the past two car bundles have gone, we're definitely going towards that route, seeing as people do definitely enjoy it. It also provides like a good incentive for us, or well, I guess more specifically the company, to invest in, like, say like something like a Nissan Cube, or like just stuff like that, because as much as it stinks, at the end of the day, we're a business. We need to operate as a business. Well, not me specifically, but like GameFam and UD, like they need to make money, because if they don't make money, they can't exist. So providing an incentive for us to make stuff that maybe wouldn't make as much money on if it wasn't, you know, behind a expansion pack or like a vehicle bundle. But where I was getting at before I went off on that tangent, is we want to do like a fun car pack where we have stuff like, for example, like Nissan Cube or PT Cruiser, Renault Twingo, like stuff like that. That's something we want to do, which I'm actually really excited to do. Build just like friggin', oh, I could do like the DXP4, the Domino's Chevy Spark or whatever. This is from here. Here, look it up. Finally got a third monitor so I can like see multiple stuff at once. Well, I used to, but now I have 3 monitors so I can like really keep track of everything. Evo 9. Fiat multiple? Yes. Yeah, we also want to do one of the ideas I had is doing like seasons of cars. So like we'd have you know, Fun Car Season 1, Fun Car Season 2. Oh, okay, see what's going on here. Could be more that. Yeah, there we go. Wide body cars. See, okay, that's another thing we've been thinking about. So, car modification, that's going to be a huge thing because the way that we have everything set up now, we'd have to pretty much completely rebuild the system that we have at the moment. But we had thought about doing like having like kits for certain cars that were custom built by me and Confessor or like Andrew or something like that. Though at the moment that's still like up in the clouds. Where was I? Oh, I totally forget what figure of speech I was trying to use. Not figure of speech. I'm stumbling on my own words right now. But yeah, that's kind of up in the air right now. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, it's up in the air. But we do definitely want to do more of the UD edition cars since they seem to be pretty popular. So that'll be kind of the alternative until we get like proper body kits. I'm sure we'll probably do like some form of like Forza Aero for all the cars. So like if you want like a wing and like there isn't like really a reason for us to go and make a whole body kit for it, then you'll have that option. LMP cars, that would be okay. So if Victory Road ever made a resurgence, which I don't know if it ever will, that'd be really interesting to see. Like I think it'd be awesome if for Victory Road we focused on making it more of like a Forza Motorsport version of. Sheesh! Brakes on that truck are loud. But yeah, making it more of like the Forza Motorsport of Ultimate Driving and adding stuff like LMP cars and stuff, that would be awesome. Personally, I'd want those to be like specifically for that. I would really want to see LMPs on the roads in Westover. So I had to retune my audio settings, so hopefully the music is loud enough. We ever make cards for a police team and fire department? Absolutely. I actually plan on the 2020 Explorer. I want to get started on that soon. Um, but we'll have the civilian one, like the limited trim for civilians, and then like the oh, excuse me, the decommissioned one for civilians as well. But there'd also be for the police team, obviously a police explorer. We also want to make Tyler's explorer as well. Something I experimented with um it too is a like a fire chief. I don't know what you would call it. Basically a fire slash EMT variant for the Ford Maverick. Let me find a picture of that. I love the new C8. Actually, I've started modeling one of those too for UD. Oh, here we go. Let's see if I can get a picture up. Save this as Maverick. Your screen's about to be covered by a Ford Maverick. Check this out. I just made this for the fun of it, but I'll probably obviously tweak some stuff. But I would love to use that EMT. Maybe even make like how the paramedics, well, at least around here, they use the older expeditions, the Explorers, something like that. Do you have any plans on remodeling the LaFerrari? A long time ago, Alex gave me a list of cars that he'd really like new models for. Thanks, truck. I think that's definitely on the list because I actually looked at it the other day. I think it does definitely need a little bit of work. What else was there? I think there was one of the... It might have been the P1 that was on the list. Yeah, a lot of like hypercars that actually I gotta bring that up again. I'm digging to our model. Oops. Oh shoot, accidentally. I tried to search, but I just sent him remodel. Keep getting timed out, are you? Interesting. Most UD cars have interiors but not steering wheels. Yeah. That's something that me and Wes want to start going back. Now that I think we only have about 14 cars left to get onto the new chassis. But once we have all those onto the new chassis, we want to start going back to all the older tunes and retuning, but also doing some corrections to like just details on the car. But the interior is a big one, especially with a lot of older models that I made specifically, because I used to not include interiors. Steering wheel optional, exactly. Who I said? A moment. Where is list? Must have been. Pictures are like ancient. It's Wingo. There's I forgot there was a poll that was done a while back. Everyday Cars won. And that was the one, the official UD one, not me. Oh, here we go. Here's the list. Okay, let me. That Tahoe model. Our liveries. We had the wraps going for a while, but yeah, we got it. The wraps are pretty cool. Actually, that's another thing. I gotta go back and redo some of the UV maps. Okay, there's a lot with bad topology is what he told me. Oh yeah, I assume a lot of the older hum models. You get timed out again. That's weird. Huh. Yeah, I don't know why you'd be getting timed out. I know, well, I do have like a auto moderation thing, but as long as you're not yelling very obscene things in the chat, then I don't think it would be moderating you. That is really interesting. I have a funny story too. So, Mutahar, or Some Ordinary Gamer, if you watch him, so he made a video a while back about how he was using VR to combat his sleep paralysis issues. And for a good 6 months, he actually slept in VR. Which is kind of fascinating, because he did it in Minecraft. And he had like a mod that synced the time to his system time. And he built like himself a house and everything. And he'd just sleep in VR in this Minecraft world. And when he would wake up, it would be like morning. And when you'd go to sleep, it would be nighttime. And I thought that was like the coolest thing. But I tried that last night. Because I just picked up a Quest 2 the other day. And it's so much better than the Oculus Rift. But yeah, I tried sleeping with the VR headset on in a game. I went about a good hour and a half maybe, and I woke up and my face was killing me from my glasses, so it was actually kind of interesting. It was, I mean, I think if I had my headphones on, it would be a bit more of an enjoyable experience, since I would just be like completely segregated from like the real world. But like, meme or not, it was actually a really cool experience. And I think once I get an attachment, because there is a company that makes attachment for the Oculus where it's like it fits in over the lenses and it matches your glasses prescription, so you don't have to wear your glasses. Because for some reason, I guess just because of the way that virtual reality works, it actually tricks your vision into, like, you know, thinking that, you know, perception, like spatial perception actually exists. So if you have vision issues like I do, and you use VR, you'll have them in VR, which is really fascinating. But it also stinks, because then you gotta wear your glasses and they can kind of start to hurt after a while. But once I get that, I genuinely want to try just sleeping in VR. Probably like making my own world. I could probably even program something in Unity or something. I just want to do it for the heck of it, really, just because it sounds really interesting. I just want to see, because one thing I do, I suffer really bad from insomnia, and it's mostly from having ADHD, and being medicated for ADHD too, because if you're not familiar with the medications, they are very, very, very strong. But it can sometimes be hard for me to fall asleep because the medicine's still not really worn off all the way by the time I'm getting into bed. So I end up just like going back to my computer and working on something. But then next thing I know, it's like 4 in the morning. But I don't know, maybe sleeping in VR could help me overcome my insomnia. That'd be incredible if it did. The nice thing with the Quest as well is all the tracking is based like directly in the headset compared to the Rift, which needed like proper sensors. But with the Quest, like, I just have like huge cable that runs from my computer to my bed, so I can just lay in bed and chill out in VR, and it's like the most like relaxing experience ever. It's also a lot more comfortable playing like really high intensity games like Assetto Corsa or something. You have ADHD as well. It used to be on that like heavy, yeah. Um, Thankfully, I'm not on traditional Adderall anymore, because Adderall, that's the like the most it's quite literally government regulated methamphetamine, which granted it's not like the it's not as dramatic as like the actual drug of methamphetamine, but it has some traces of it in it because that chemical helps like basically control, I forget which part of the brain it is, but it helps balance like some of the chemicals that cause ADHD, but it also causes a lot of side effects. Like, if you ever wonder why I get dehydrated a lot in stream, it's because of my medication. But it can also cause, your stomach to feel upset. It can cause you to not have an appetite. It really stinks. But there's just too many benefits for me for me personally, I should say, not specifically. For me personally, there's some really good benefits to the medication. Because without it, I just struggle really bad. I also struggle with really bad anxiety if I'm not, because my mind's just able to just trail off. Medicine made you more hyperactive. Yeah, I've heard that it can do that if in some people, or actually in a lot of people. There is sometimes where it's really easy for me to get distracted, or like it's easy for me to get distracted more often when I'm on my medication. One of the other side effects, which is not necessarily a side effect, it's more so just my natural self, because when I was a kid, I was insanely extroverted. And I naturally am a very extroverted person, but over the years, just through some, just not only just like personal stuff I don't really want to get into, but just kind of getting like growing up, I've become a lot more introverted, especially with how I've kind of gotten more into like, really niche area of or I don't know how to word it, but put it this way, there isn't a lot of road geeks out there. But something I've noticed with my medication is I get very extroverted. I get very talkative. That's another thing. I'm very talkative. And that's actually one of the reasons I've started streaming in the first place, is because if I wasn't careful, I could actually pretty much throw myself into an anxiety attack, because and this is getting out of like the realm of ADHD. This is getting more into me having like an anxiety disorder. But like I'd be so talkative in like the middle of the day and nobody would be online, and I'm pretty much home because I still live at home at the moment, but apart from my sister who's home every once in a while, she actually, I think I just heard her door open. She's probably going to work. My parents don't get home till late. They leave before I wake up. For lack of better terms, it gets kind of lonely sometimes. So mix that in with me being medicated, me being very overly social, or at least like having that really big desire to be social. Yeah, it would pretty much drive me into like a full-on anxiety attack of like I'm alone. Like where is everyone? Why is no one responding to me? And I'd have to just knock myself out of it and be like, it's because everyone has lives and I don't. But no, no, in all seriousness, like, yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why I started streaming, because I can literally just jabber for a couple hours and get it all out of my system and not feel like, not let that feeling of like isolation get to me. Because it actually really hurt me in the beginning of the pandemic. This was before I was medicated for depression. I sound like a druggie with the amount of times I've said medicated in the past like 5 minutes. Yeah, that was definitely a bit more of a personal tangent, but I don't know, it felt good. I'm very open. I'm very vocal about my experience with ADHD, my experience with the different medications that I've tried for ADHD. Usually it's always been, or at least the way that I was raised, it's always been a bit more on the like taboo side to talk about that kind of stuff. But I think being more vocal about that kind of stuff helps me a lot, because not only do I find more people that kind of like struggle with the same issues, it's also just good to get it out there and see what other people think. Good to conversate. Exactly. It's yeah, it's just being able to talk about that kind of stuff. Not even like on a sense of just, you know, putting it out there. I feel like it kind of does definitely help benefit. Obviously, in the past year, probably a couple of years now, there's been a, you know, huge shift towards people being open, people being who they are, especially with you know, the stuff that happened last year with in Minneapolis and stuff like that. Not that I really want to get into that conversation, because that's like a whole another can of worms. But I think being open about everything with, or like all that kind of stuff, is how we are going to improve as a society. Because if everyone can acknowledge people's you know, struggles, or people's lives, just the different things that they have to deal with, or things that they do to just be able to fulfill their self in our society, I think it's a great thing to do. It sounds interesting, but yeah, I think it makes sense. I'm sure there's definitely a way better way I could word that if I like literally just sat down and wrote words on paper, but make a Yugo. Yugo would be cool. Wide body. Yeah, we give a Yugo, we can have a wide body Yugo. I do actually want to, so, I don't know why the Yugo made me think of it, but something I was experimenting with yesterday was, actually making a City Skylines model. I'd like to make prop cars for that game, but I also thought about just selling, models on my Coffee page, which you know, people would be able to buy, use for whatever project they want. Pretty decent, you know, prices. I'll probably just base it on excuse me, I'll probably just base it on, you know, different prices I get around from the community. That's a whole, that's making me think of a whole another tangent that I want to go on, but I'll save it for later. But like, say, like, for example, I was thinking for like the flagship that I want to do for it, 3-pack of, you know, Jetta. So low poly models of, you know, Jetta TDI, Jetta Wolfsburg Edition, Jetta GLI, and then the Bora R. Wait, actually has 4. I was thinking, 50, $60 for that. Too bad. Liberty Walk Toyota Prius, exactly. Depression, have ADHD. It was a bit taboo a few years back. Kind of is a little bit today. He described it exactly as I would have. Yeah, it's interesting because, when I was in high school, I was just starting high school back in, 2016. If you had ADHD, you were weird. It's I don't mean to laugh. I'm not laughing at the idea that people with ADHD are weird. Even though I'd just be laughing at myself, but I'm more so just laughing at the fact that, like, we genuinely used to think that way, and then as we've kind of become more progressive and more open, we've started to see that, people genuinely suffer from stuff like this, and it's stuff that we really need to take care of and change. And it's just gonna, and when we do, it's gonna make everyone a lot better. You've got precisely the perfect mindset and way to put your ideas out there. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Because for the longest time, I was not prepared to really put my self out there that much. But as the world's become more and more open, it's helped me a lot. And that's really all I can say. Well, I guess more better way of putting that is that's kind of the bottom line for me. Let me drop a link. See. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break. I'm gonna go grab a water, because mine ran out. Put up the good old BRB. And I'll be right back. another thing I noticed is, so back in high school, I did like choir and theater and stuff. But obviously since then, because I graduated in 2019, um, I've definitely lost my singing voice. I've noticed as I've lost my singing voice, I've also definitely lost just the clarity in my voice. I've noticed I've over the past couple of years, I just noticed my voice getting more and more nasally, more and more drony, especially when I'm just talking normally. And I think a lot of that comes from um just not really practicing my voice dynamics, or I don't know what the word would be. But yeah, I feel like I've definitely I need to find that again. The just vocal skill, because I feel like it's I genuinely feel like it's taken a toll on like my voice in general, where I used to just be able to kind of like speak really clearly, but now I'm just like, you know, really nasally and stuff, especially like when I talk like this. Um that's something I want to work on. Also just because I want to get back into singing. Because like, I mean, I don't really want to make anything out of it, but this is a nice skill to have, especially when you get a good song on and you can just sing it perfectly. It's such a satisfying feeling. You have a deep nasally voice. Yeah, nasally voices, they can be both good and bad for singing. Um yeah, nasally and deep, because if you would be singing, you'd most likely be singing in a you know, like a bass or baritone register, so but no, it mostly just comes down to practicing technique, because when you're out of practice, it just shows. Like I've noticed, because I'm a baritone, so I kind of sing like kind of a mixture of, you know, tenor and bass, so I can do, you know, lower stuff and higher stuff. Um, but there's definitely some spots where I'll try and sing and it just hurts, like it physically hurts to sing the notes, or at least like if it's not just like falsetto, because you have falsetto where it's just, you kind of like, it's almost like you're like speaking in a whisper, and then you have like belting, or you know, your what is it, oh, your chest voice, which is, you know, like just kind of belting it out loudly. We also have head voice, which is kind of a mixture of falsetto and your chest voice, which is really hard to get if you're out of practice, but once you kind of get the technique, you can do it. But I haven't been able to do it for years. Kind of stinks, because I would like to have that back. That's my sister. She's like a trained musician. She'd probably be able to help me find my musical voice again. You're 18 years old and you sound like you're 40. I don't know, sometimes I wish I was like that, because though I definitely sound a lot older than I used to. If you go back to like my older City Skylines videos, I sound so much younger. And that was when I was, 17, 18. Actually, it would have been, 17, those videos. Actually, fun fact too, that I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but so back when I was doing my City Skylines series, I was in the process of applying to colleges and stuff. It was my junior year, so it was like, the time to start applying to different stuff. But I was doing this YouTube series, and we had this cool college advisor, this guy that was like, he's paid to pretty much help us apply for all of our colleges and like make sure that we get into them, like literally just teaches us how to play the system to get accepted into colleges, which sounds weird, but I don't know, it definitely helps, because I mean, I did terribly on like the ACT, SAT, what else is there? My grades weren't even that good, but I still managed to get into Penn State for engineering at that. But if you haven't applied to a college, what you have to do is you have to write an essay. And you're given a prompt. I think the prompt changes every year, or there's like multiple prompts. I can't remember. But the prompt was basically, what's something that you've done, or like what's a hobby you've done that's helped you grow as a person. So I couldn't think of anything. But then I just happened to remember the one day I was like, well, I do this YouTube channel and it's been growing pretty good. At the time, I was like gaining like a couple hundred subscribers per video. But I had the meeting about talking about the essay, and I wanted to specifically, I wanted to bring it up as a joke to the advisor. But he was like, so what kind of ideas do you have for your essay? And I said, well, I do this YouTube video, or I do this YouTube channel, which is kind of centered around my degree that I want to pursue, which is civil engineering, because I was playing City Skylines. Obviously, it's city planning, urban development, that kind of stuff. And I talked about how like it's kind of helped me become more of an extroverted person. It's helped me express my different passions to an audience, or to people that want to listen. I was expecting him to just be like, that's ridiculous, and just brush it off. He was like, Michael, or no, he didn't call me Michael. He always called me by my last name, so he always called me Miller. He's like, he laughed and he said, Miller, that is the best idea, or like that is the perfect idea. And he was like, yeah, write about that YouTube channel. And I did. And what do you know? I got accepted into a couple colleges that specifically liked that essay. How do you do door handles? Possible to show? Yeah, if I get to the door handles, I can definitely show how to do those. It's fairly simple. It's once you kind of get the general shape of like how every like door handle is kind of done, you kind of get the hang of it. But it's a bit intimidating at first. A lot of the time, like I'll have a model that's like almost ready to go, but it's just like I'm gonna make the door handles. That and the mirrors. Mirrors are always a pain. It's because they're just tedious. Well, something quite unique. Exactly. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much, because it's just something that like no one else would ever think of. Because if you were writing about what did you do that helped you grow as a person, um, then it would just be like, oh, I helped at like a, I don't know, like I helped clean up a road and it made me feel um, proud to help my community. But then there's me that's just like, if I do a YouTube channel, it's kind of centered around my degree, and it's helped me find people that I can like actually not only did I find people that I could share this passion with, but at the same time I'm able to express like how passionate I am about civil engineering. Honestly really happy that that worked that way too, because it was definitely the first like eye-opener in my life where it's like, shoot, like this like nerd stuff I do can actually get me somewhere. And now my goal in life, especially now with me getting back onto the YouTube trend, my goal is to absolutely kind of share that with more people and just be like, if you've got a really weird passion that you think no one cares about, you're dead wrong. Someone out there is going to love the thing that you do, no matter how weird, how nerdy, how corny you think it is. I mean, I thought, I thought in the past that, yeah, I gotta be the only person that cares about, freaking roads. But then, next thing I know, I get back into Roblox one day, back in 2016, and I find this one driving game called Ultimate Driving, and then I play it. I was like, there's some really good attention to detail on, like, the road network in this game. And that just sent me on a rabbit hole of road geeking and the whole road geek community, and it was a huge, just like, eye-opener. And I mean, it definitely worked out because I kept pursuing it, and I was always just like, okay, I'm gonna go civil engineering, become a road designer, and then eventually I mean, deep down I've always wanted to be either an automotive designer or a game developer, but none of those would ever really seem like a logical, especially before like the whole technology boom, or well, I guess really, I don't know. I don't know what really caused it, but back a couple years ago, saying, I want to be a game developer was like basically the equivalent of saying, I want to throw my life away for a risk that might not even happen. But honestly, I pursued the risk I pursued the potential and I took the risk and it worked out eventually. I want to say over the past couple of years, I've spent quite a lot of time trying to improve, my skill in developing, but not even just developing, just like game development as a whole and like the whole logistics of all of it. And I worked in silence for quite a long time too. I was mostly just always a bit hesitant to put my stuff out there because it was like, it's who's gonna care. And then one day I did, and then this group who I won't mention because they're just kind of a lot of drama seekers now, but at the time, they found me and they were like, yo, you want to develop for us? I was like, sure. And then eventually, that project didn't really get anywhere. Eventually Hydrolock found me, which, if you don't know, Hydrolock is one of the former UD developers who went on to find Finneroads. And then once development on Finneroads kind of slowed down, I moved on to Overdrive, and then with bouncing Overdrive and really just not grasping the the everything really needed to run that game, I was like, well, shoot, what do I do now? But eventually I talked to Alex and he was like, yeah, you should come help out with UD stuff. I was like, that works perfect. And then around summer this year, eventually came to from me just developing cars to, well, shoot, you want to like have an official role? I was like, yeah, I'm down. Now it's basically my career. But I definitely want to be the person who advocates for people, especially people who are like myself, who were in high school, might have not been a star student, might have not necessarily wanted to be, like a big like college, superstar, straight A's, all that kind of stuff. And I kind of want to be the advocate for that kind of person who may just feel stuck in a world that is really pushing for them to be something that they don't really want to be. And I just want to be the advocate to say, hey, you can make something out of yourself without having to do what everyone else does. If you want to sit on your computer and build cars as a job, or if you want to sit on your computer and create video games, then I want to be the voice that can say, you can. Or if you want to be an engineer, but you might not have the crazy, like mathematical skills that a lot of colleges really want you to have, like, calculus, that kind of stuff. I definitely want to be the voice that says you can still be an engineer without knowing how to do differentials. Because it does suck when you really want to do something, but you go to school, you look at your grades aren't really that good. It's depressing. It hurts. I feel bad for people that really have to sit through that. It may just genuinely not have that skill that's expected. because it's most of the time it's just they don't even need that skill, but they can't get anywhere because they'll expect it, and it's something that really annoys me. And I could get into like a huge discussion about it, but yeah. I actually thought about with at my old high school, they're really big on giving out scholarships and stuff like that. And I'm thinking what I want to do is sponsor a scholarship for people that are in the engineering program who might not be, a straight A student, but they show like an insane work ethic. They show that they like really want to be an engineer. And I want to help sponsor something that will help benefit someone like that. Especially just knowing myself and my past, like looking back and just feeling I wasn't really as charitable as a person I've wanted to be so far in my life. But now that I really have, now that I'm settled into like a proper job and have a decent income, I want to start, helping those kinds of things. I want to, promote things like scholarships. I want to help those kinds of people like get somewhere in their life. Because even if they don't go to college, even if they're just gonna take the risk and either work trade or try and find their footing on their own, yeah, I'd love to help someone like that. If they want to start their own business, the money to go towards incorporating. If they want to, or even if they're say they want to start like a game design team, they can use the money to go towards assets. They can use the money to go towards hiring. And if they go to college, then you use it, in college. It's something I've always wanted to do, but never really been able to. Oh, it's getting windy. Okay. Wind came out of nowhere. Down. There we go. The storm finally on its way. Oops. Something just dawned on me. Building an Evo 8. An Evo 9. I was wondering why it looked kind of off. Oh well, I can easily convert this to a 9. That's why it looked kind of off. Okay. Oh yes, because the other blueprint we used was junk. You noticed it was a 9? Nah, I originally thought it was the Evo 10. Or, not Evo 10, Evo, yeah, I originally, thought it was the Evo 9. The blueprint's the Evo 8. Not too much different, though, so... I was wondering why, specifically, this back end looked kind of off. always fill this in. So, nope. There we go. One finally fill for us? There we go. faster and faster. Yeah. Once you kind of get the general like idea of, I found that filling out like the model, like the outline first, and then filling everything in is the most efficient way of going about it. And it definitely does make the process a lot quicker. And just like, oh, wow. The Civic EK hatch. I think someone actually mentioned that earlier. Yeah, it would be a good one too. There we go. Then yeah, I figured, yeah. Yeah, disconnected for a hot second. It's like a spider creating a web, figuring out how to shape the web like a piece of art. It's a good way of putting it. It does definitely feel like just like, yeah, taking a just like a basic thing and turning it into like a proper piece. Lights had the mesh issue or be see-through. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Got quite a bit done, actually. It's only about 2 hours of work. Wow. I think I'm gonna call it here today, though. Go work on some other vehicle stuff or whatnot. Out there to more people. Reconnection successful. There we go. Probably start that all over again, since I decided to disconnect in between. Yeah, basically, next stream tomorrow we're going to be playing Need for Speed Carbon, hopefully. If that doesn't work, we'll just be back to building UD cars. Be sure to like this stream because it helps get it out to more and more people. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more. You can see in the bottom where I'll be raffling off a custom-made car to one person at 1,500. That's actually out of date. We're currently at 1,217, which is awesome. We're up 21 this month, which is really cool. But with all that said, be sure to tune in to the next couple of streams. They're all scheduled. I'll see everyone in the next one.